We're diving into an absolutely wild story today. It's about a man, a bear, and, believe it or not, a simple bike helmet. This is an incredible account of how a totally normal day on the trail turned into a brutal fight for survival, and how one piece of gear made all the difference. Just try to put yourself in his shoes for a second. You're out in the woods, you hear something, and bam, you're face to face with a charging bear. For Anthony Blasioli, this wasn't hypothetical. This was the moment his life changed forever. So let's break down exactly what went down. All right, so the attack itself, it happened in a flash. There was zero warning. It was just sudden, violent, and completely out of the blue. And the scene for this whole ordeal is a place that probably sounds familiar to a lot of you. A beautiful forest park, a popular trail for mountain biking. It's the kind of place you go to get away from it all, not to end up fighting for your life. But before all that chaos erupted, it was just another Tuesday, a totally ordinary ride. And to really get what happened, you've got to meet the man at the center of this story. So this is Anthony Blasioli. He's 51, a software developer, and he was just out doing what he loved, mountain biking with his two German short-haired pointers, Oak and Pine. Just a regular guy, enjoying a day outdoors. Now here's the moment where everything went wrong, based on a simple misunderstanding. His dog started barking like crazy, which, looking back, was a huge warning sign. But in the moment, he just thought, oh, other bikers must be coming. So he gets off his bike to be courteous and let them pass, totally clueless about the danger that was literally seconds away. And this brings us right to the heart of it all, the desperate struggle to survive. It came down to two things, really: his helmet and a sudden glimmer of hope. So what was it he was facing? A large, male block bear, standing up about as tall as a man. In an instant, Blasioli wasn't on his bike anymore. He was on the ground, with a bear right on top of him. And this right here, this is the single most important factor in why he's alive today. The bear went for his head, but its teeth and claws hit the helmet first. Now, the attack still tore off most of his ear. Horrific injury. But without that simple piece of plastic and foam, the outcome would have been so much worse. You can only imagine what's going through his mind, pinned under this animal. Blasioli was absolutely convinced this was it. You can just feel the pure terror in his words, a last-ditch, desperate plea for his life when it seemed like all hope was gone. For him, that prayer was a profound moment. Blasioli, who mentioned he was a lapsed Catholic, felt this was something more than just a lucky break. He said he asked for a clear sign, and he truly believes this was it. And here's the absolute turning point. Right after that prayer, something unbelievable happened. The bear just backed off. It was only for a second, but that 1 second was the window he needed. He scrambled to his feet, jumped on his bike, and just pedaled for his life. But getting away from the bear wasn't the end of the story. Not by a long shot. The frantic ride to find help was really just the beginning of a long and painful recovery. He spent 7 straight days, an entire week, in the intensive care unit. That number alone tells you just how serious his injuries were, even after the helmet took the worst of it. The damage was, well, it was extensive. He had deep bites and claw marks all over his face, his chest, his neck. His ear was almost completely gone. And at one point, the doctors were seriously worried he might even lose his entire arm. And hey, that wasn't just his opinion. The hospital spokesperson, Gail Robinette, put it plainly. There's really no other way to say it. He was truly lucky to be alive. Of course, there's one question I'm sure you're wondering: what about his dogs, Oak and Pine? He had to leave them behind in the chaos, a decision that he said he felt really guilty about later. But thankfully, there's a happy ending there. A friend went searching the park and found them both totally safe. So what's the takeaway from a story this terrifying? Well, this whole incident actually offers some pretty critical lessons for any of us who like to spend time out in nature. Okay, first things first, let's get some perspective here, because this is important. An expert from Fish and Wildlife made it very clear that what happened to Anthony Blasioli is not normal. Unprovoked attacks by black bears are, in his exact words, exceedingly rare. But, rare doesn't mean impossible. So that same officer gave some really simple, effective advice. For starters, go in groups when you can. And second, make some noise. Carry a whistle, a bear bell, something to let animals know you're there so you don't accidentally sneak up on them. Ultimately, when you boil it all down, this whole story is just a stark, powerful reminder. A helmet isn't just for protecting your head when you fall. It might just be the one thing that stands between you and something way, way worse. It just drives home how important it is to be prepared. And so that leaves us with one final thing to chew on. What was it that truly saved him? Was it the preparedness, that helmet he chose to put on that morning? Or was it prayer and that miraculous split second when the bear let him go? It's a question worth thinking about.